and welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I have a very quick update for you on the BRICS bloc, specifically the BRICS Bank, the new development bank. There are reports of the bank preparing to launch new bonds that will be available in local currencies rather than in the United States dollars. This is yet another step towards de-dollarization of developing economies. Think about its possible impact. Prior to the BRICS bloc taking center stage, this would have been the IMF, International Monetary Fund, or the World Bank giving loans denominated in US dollars to these developing countries, developing nations that would never be able to pay them back under conditions, of course, that are advantageous to the lenders and not to borrowers. So the new development bank is in a position now to play a key role in driving de-dollarization. The expected release of the BRICS bond is a major development for several reasons. First and foremost, these bonds will encourage investments in currencies other than the United States dollar. By the way, what is a bond? Very quickly, a bond is a debt instrument that is effectively a loan that is made by an investor to a borrower. A borrower in this case would typically be governments, corporations, states, municipalities that need to finance large development type projects. An owner of a bond can be thought of as a creditor. So with that being said, the new development bank is expected to release the bonds that are worth $28 billion. The chief operating officer, Vladimir Kazbekov, stated that they're still waiting on regulatory approvals, but they don't really anticipate any roadblocks or issues there. These new bonds will be made available to member countries' banks, as well as the governments, members of the bloc, in order to finance infrastructure programs. Remember that during the latest summit that was held in Johannesburg last summer, the bloc discussed a variety of collaboration efforts that they want to get involved in, and that would include medical and science development, healthcare accessibility. So these bonds will help them start working towards those very ambitious but absolutely necessary for them goals. From the standpoint of de-dollarization, the bonds will of course promote the use of local currencies and will contribute over a long term to the decrease in demand for the US dollar. The BRICS Bank is a truly unique entity in my opinion. According to its president Dilma Rousseff, the bank will lend in the South African and Brazilian currencies as well as in rupees. So this move is expected to be a catalyst for restructuring the global financial system. The goal here is clearly to create alternatives. The bank has already been lending in Chinese renminbi, by the way. In fact, the new development bank has already lent $33 billion for infrastructure projects among its member non-BRICS states, such as Egypt, Bangladesh. This was prior to Egypt joining as of January 1st of this year. And it has provided funding to the UAE prior to it receiving an official invitation to join the bloc. So as far as I know, the BRICS Bank has agreed to accept Uruguay. Uruguay is allegedly in the final stages of admission. And in addition to that, in addition to using those two currencies to make loans to developing nations for a variety of infrastructure projects, the former Brazilian president and now the head of the BRICS Bank, Dilma Rousseff, said that she was working on expanding the bank's membership. There are 15 countries that have formally applied for membership, and about a third of them may be admitted soon. The head of the BRICS Bank previously explained that the primary reason that makes the BRICS Bank more attractive than the IMF, for example, is its lower cost of debt. And that is extremely important, especially for nations that have very limited resources, since there is no foreign exchange rate involved. So these developing countries that have very, very limited financial resources will love this because conversion fees are extremely high too. The main purpose of the BRICS Bank is to become the lender of choice for developing countries and emerging markets, so the global south, so to speak. Rousseff said that its focus is to become, quote, a bank made by developing countries for themselves. In one of her interviews, Dilma Rousseff said, local currencies are not alternatives to the dollar. They are alternatives to a system. So far, the system has been unipolar. It's going to be substituted by a more multipolar system. So do you see now? This isn't just about the dollar losing its hegemony as the result of years and years of questionable fiscal and foreign policies. These changes that we're already seeing in the world right now go far beyond the United States dollar as the global reserve currency. Remember, reserve currencies come and go. The US dollar isn't the first and most likely won't be the last one. What Dilma Rousseff is telling us is that it's bigger than that. It's about restructuring the entire system, not just substituting one currency for another. Foreign economic aid, excluding humanitarian aid, in many cases is an extension of a country's foreign policy. For example, the IMF and the World Bank require certain conditions. In many cases, let's call these questionable policies to be implemented by a foreign government, by a foreign borrower in exchange for funds, for a loan that has to be paid back anyway. One of the latest examples is the IMF making loans to Zelensky in exchange for truly crippling policies to be implemented in Ukraine. And so as the result of that, Ukraine now has the strictest anti-union, anti-worker policies in the entire world that effectively turn average workers earning minimum wage, minimum pay into resources without rights, without bargaining power, and without a voice. So that's how it works. The BRICS Bank stated that it won't set any purely political conditions on those loans. Dilma Rousseff commented, often a loan is given upon the condition that certain policies are carried out. We don't do that. We respect the policies of each country. The release of $28 billion worth in new BRICS bonds is a truly significant step. This isn't the first time that the new development bank issues bonds, by the way. Previously, they issued $1.25 billion 3-year green bond. This transaction was very well received by investors. There were 50 investors from Asia, from Europe, and the Americas. And so according to its website, the net proceeds from the issuance of those bonds were allocated to finance and or to refinance eligible green projects, effectively helping developing nations invest in sustainable infrastructure. So interesting timing, interesting developments in my opinion. It is so important that these countries, especially those without immediate access to healthcare or other essential infrastructure, get assistance and will get a chance to fund their projects in a way that will contribute to their future development. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate your time. Thanks for all of your support. Remember to join me on Rumble, YouTube, and Substack. I will see you in my next one tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day. Bye for now.